Welcome back to Broken Electronics. My name is Lee, and I'm so glad you could stop by here for yet another little adventure. And as promised, we're going to focus today on that machine over there. You can see it beyond the stool. That is my 2009 Mac Pro 4.1 Flash to 5.1 firmware. And I think you can see the screen well enough there to note that based on the wallpaper, and that's an accurate basis, it's running Mojave. As I've been pointing out recently, that's a sure sign that something is wrong. Now, back when this machine had been running Monterey, and back when we were getting to the point that Monterey was no longer going to be a supported OS, I had left most of my 5.1 and this machine on Monterey because it was the last version that was natively supported. You could install a new version using OpenCore Legacy Patcher and not need to root patch it. It would just run. What a great thing that was. So I reached a point that something's going to have to happen, and I decided to upgrade this machine. I did upgrade it, and I'm not even sure what it's running. I don't think it's Ventura. I never really got along well with Ventura. I think it's probably Sonoma, although Lord knows Monterey may still be on there. But I know I tried to install Sonoma, and I got to a point where I was trying to restore the machine using my Time Machine backup. And I found that at least at that point, restoring from Time Machine backups had broken under OCLP. I had numerous people give comments saying, revert the root patches and then you'll be able to restore it, but it never worked. So, at some point in trying to sort things out, I decided to move back into Mojave and see if I could sort out some of the problems. So I zapped the PRAM. I had completely forgotten that the RX 580 that's in that machine isn't Mac flashed. So once I zapped the PRAM, I couldn't even try to boot back into the modern Mac OS. Alright, so there are a number of things that I could do. I could take a flashed RX 580, I have several of them, out of one of my other machines and put it in there. My biggest problem right now is with the Guillain-Barré syndrome. I can get down on the ground to do things reasonably easily. Getting back up again is an issue. I can do it, witness the fact that I'm not just lying on the ground somewhere right now, but I try to avoid that. So basically that machine has just been sitting around. I do have an answer though that will at least cut down some of that. This little guy, this is actually a metal capable graphics card, this little teeny thing here, with I think 1 gigabyte of VRAM, if that. And we can see the specs on it when I get it in there. So what I can do is take out the RX 580. Now, the machine as it is right now, I've got this card. There are 2 display ports and a DVI. Since it's connected to the old acrylic Apple Cinema Display 23-inch, I can pretty easily connect it just to the display port. That should work. Then once we boot it up, we can get to the boot screen. We can hold down the option key when we boot it up and get to the boot manager. Then we should find an option to enable OpenCore existing in there. If we don't, yeah, at least we'll have something to go with. So the plan is going to be to shut the machine down, switch the graphics cards, spend about an hour getting up off the floor. No, it won't be that long. I've come a long way. There was a time when if I got down on the floor, getting back up again was not a sure thing. I will be able to get back up again, I promise you. Well, we'll find that out, won't we? And if you want to know the answer to that, please stay tuned. All right, it's in there. Now I just need to try to get up again and then boot this thing up. Stay tuned. Well, thanks to the assistance of the stool, I was able to get back onto my feet. I've just pressed the power button. Waiting for the chime. Okay, and the screen has come alive too. That's a good sign. All right, so I'm holding the Option key down and we're hoping to see the boot manager soon. Odd mottling on the display, but at least it's working. Okay, and here we are. All right, and we see the EFI boot, which is what we need. Okay. And the Crucial SSD should be whatever supported version of macOS is installed. And I don't know, it might be Ventura, it might be Sonoma. I really don't know. It's possible it's Monterey, but I don't think so. Now, the strange distortion one sees in the display there may in fact have to do with the graphics card itself, but I'll be able to take that out as soon as we're assured it's going to work, because once the machine is set to boot from the OpenCore package, it's going to do that. All right. Let's see what we come into. The light in the screen has gone black. That's not a good sign. Oh, it's rebooting. Well, you don't need to sit through this, so we'll see what happens soon. Stay tuned. Well, we're in a boot loop, and then, you know, heck, that may very well be why I booted back to Mojave in the first place. I don't remember. I'm going to let it try one more time to boot into the mystery operating system here. And then I'll try putting the RX 580 back in, because now that it's set to boot into the OpenCore package, there shouldn't be a problem. Now, it keeps doing those abort command things. That shouldn't be a problem. You see that do it all the time. Well, in any event, stay tuned. Okay, the RX 580 is in there. I am not expecting this to magically boot, but as I said, there should be no reason not to put the RX 580 back in. Okay, so there's our chime. There's the OpenCore bootloader. And yeah, the display issues that we were noticing earlier have gone away. I'm not seeing anything different. It's flying along, but it was doing that in the older graphics card too. And yeah, same exact behavior. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna need to make an installer. Stay tuned. Okay, I forced it down to, we're starting it again. I guess we'll just try running the Sonoma installer on the older version of the bootloader and see what happens. Well, hopefully this is going to end up booting. It's going to go slow. It's on USB 2 and all of that. All these abort commands aren't necessarily fun. If this doesn't work, I'm going to need to switch the graphics cards again, go to the Apple bootloader, and select the new OpenCore bootloader. Well, oh, it doesn't like the mouse. Okay. Hang with me. Okay, the problem was I've got a third-party USB mouse that was not recognized. The keyboard, which is a third-party Macally keyboard, that seemed to work fine, but it's going to be a lot easier with the mouse. So I got an Apple keyboard, which is basically a USB 2 hub. That works. Let's go into disk utility. Show all devices. All right. Let's zap this thing. Okay. Nuking the completely unfunctional installation that's there. Might as well see the details. Oh, I may have clicked on the wrong thing. Stay tuned. Well, this is not exactly what we were looking for. It booted back into Mojave. And it's not recognizing the mouse. Okay. Certainly should be. Maybe because it's plugged into a hub. Okay. Well, I'm gonna fuss with this and see what's going on. I think probably the easiest thing to do is just going to be force it off, start it again, and see if it'll give me the OpenCore bootloader again. I certainly hope so. Stay tuned. Okay, when I get to editing this, I may just dump a bunch of clips because I have been trying and trying and trying and trying to get this to work. Thus far with no success. I'm in the midst of installing Sonoma. And it keeps stalling, and it keeps stalling with different places. I'm getting a feeling that maybe, just maybe, the SSD is failing. That easily could be. I can remember there was some question, I think I can remember, this is going back a long time, about that. There's some question about that SSD, but it seemed to work, so I just kept using it. I'm going to swap it out and start the installation again, see what happens. Stay tuned. Okay, I have put in the new SSD, and now we're going to start this whole installation thing over again. I won't need to erase the drive because there's nothing on the drive. All right, stay tuned. Okay, so we're here again. Now, as I said, I won't need to restore this, so we're just going to go straight to install Sonoma. And this will be slow, of course, because it is USB 2. As you can tell from the beach ball. This is actually perfectly normal with an older computer. Agree. Why do I have to say I agree twice? Okay, the Foivision. Oh yeah, it's got a Thunderbolt drive because this was originally in a Thunderbolt enclosure. I call it Foivision. Maybe it's Fuvision. I don't know. It's a Chinese off-brand SSD. I ran across it on Amazon. It was really cheap, and I figured, what the heck? And it worked fine, but when I looked for it again, it was no longer really cheap. So there you go. Okay, I'm hoping this will go a lot smoother. We can only find out one way, and if you want to find out, stay tuned. Okay, it got down to about 13 minutes remaining, and it should be rebooting now. This was a problem the first time that I started it because I'm an idiot and erased the drive that had the OpenCore bootloader on it. But anyhow, we shall see what happens. Stay tuned. Okay, already a big improvement. I don't know why that SSD is called the Sierra SSD, but That should be the SSD that's got Mojave on it. All right, let's see how this goes. Stay tuned. Okay, so far it's a lot smoother with this SSD. Let's hope that that was the main problem. Stay tuned. Okay, we're into a reboot. Let's hope it actually does reboot. And here we go. I had hoped this would be a lot smoother, but I'm also hopeful that the change in the SSD will help matters considerably. Come on. All right, here we go. macOS installer. I mean, it does seem that it's been a lot smoother. There were other things going on besides the SSD, some of which were my own errors, but this does seem a lot faster. All right, I shall spare you a bit. Stay tuned. Just to be a typical Broken Electronics OSTLP video, notice ramrod display. Stay tuned. Okay, we had another reboot, and yeah, this so far has been much smoother. I'm beginning to think, while there's a lot that's gone into making this difficult, the SSD is a big part of it. Okay, we're booting now into the SSD. Okay, we'll let this play out. Stay tuned. Okay, it got to 99% and it's rebooting now. The screen's gone off. Here we go. Screen's coming up very quickly now. I am hopeful this is going to work. Which would indicate that a lot of the problem was in fact the SSD back when this first started giving me trouble. Okay. Come on, you. Uh-oh. Yeah, this is where we started running into trouble at this point. It would just stall. This isn't good. Well, stay tuned. I'll see what's going on. I'll be darned. I'm very surprised. I kept restarting it. Finally, I'm downloading Sequoia now and creating an installer, probably for no reason. But I finally tried putting the RX 580 back in, and by God, it just worked. Okay, I'm going to set the machine up like a new machine. I'm not going to transfer anything, and we'll see where we go. Stay tuned. I can't believe this. Okay, I got the entire installation set up. It was working. I haven't completely updated it, but it told me I needed to install to the internal SSD and reboot, so I did, and here I am. This really stinks. Okay, so I need to put the other graphics card in, get into the boot manager, set open core to boot, and then probably change to the RX 580 again. I am so tired. My legs are tired. My back is killing me because since my legs don't work right, I use my back muscles way more. Well, nothing for it. Stay tuned. Alright, I find this interesting. I had to put the other graphics card, which, by the way, is an NVIDIA GeForce GT 630 with 2 gig of video RAM. And it obviously is not functional here, but it did boot up anyhow. And hopefully when I shut it down and put back in the RX 580, it'll actually be okay. I mean, I can't complain too much. This video card allowed me to get this done, but man, what a pain. Alright, we'll close that down. Let's shut down. And I'll get back down on the ground, on the floor, and make that hopefully last change. Stay tuned. Okay, so here we are. You can see about this Mac open, showing the specs of the Mac Pro and Mac OS Sonoma 14.7.4. So that needs to be updated. Before I do that, I've got to find a lot of the apps that I need on here. Most of them you just find through the App Store. There are a few others, but it'll take me about half an hour to get all that set up. Man, the last clip that you saw, I was using the NVIDIA GeForce, and the screen just looked ridiculous. That's because I had installed the root patches with the RX 580 in place. So when I switched the graphics cards, a lot of the root patches were doing nothing. And I wasn't going to redo the root patches, of course, because I wanted to put the RX 580 back in. All right. So anyhow, if nothing else, the machine is up. It's running a supported Mac OS. I will need to update it to the current version. And I have a lot of other things to do to get it running the way it should, but nonetheless, it's running now, and that's something. And I think for anyone who has stayed through all of this, This is the example of why I just haven't been doing videos. Getting down and up and down and up, switching the graphics cards over and over again, switching the SSD. This is absolutely exhausting. So if anyone ever asks you if you want to have Guillain-Barré syndrome just for fun, say no. I am getting better, so hopefully I'll continue to get better and we'll be able to get more videos on a more regular basis. But that's not where we are now, so I'll just do as many as I can, and I hope you understand. Be good to other people. They need it and deserve it. Be good to yourselves. We can make this world a better place. It's important that we do, but it has to start with being good to ourselves. The world is not a better place yet, far from it. So please take very good and careful care in these increasingly difficult times. I've got some videos that I can do without getting down on the ground, some that require that, but I've got a couple of videos with the M4 base model Mac Mini and the M4 Pro Mac Mini that will still be done. I want to do one with my main 5.1 Mac Pro that is going to involve getting down the ground, hopefully not too much. But in any event, we shall see what comes up in the channel. So until things are up and available, and thank you for your understanding, this has been Broken Electronics.